crop protection entomology. Sorry. She obtained a PhD in crop protection entomology from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria, in 2009. Prior to this, I believe we can hear me. Prior to this, she pursued her educational journey with dedication, earning degrees and certification in various fields such as science education, food storage technology, and biology. Throughout her career, Dr. Oni has been committed to advancing knowledge in her field through rigorous research and academic endeavors. Our ongoing research project focus on evaluating the insecticide properties of natural plant extracts and assessing the toxicity of various compounds on stored grains pests, contributing significantly to pest management strategies in agriculture. Professor Oni's dedication to academic excellence and her impactful research has earned her recognition and support, including research grants from prestigious institutions like the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. She has also authored scholarly works, including co-authoring a book on basic entomology. So now please join me welcome Dr. Olayinka Mercy. You're welcome, ma. Ma, unmute yourself, ma. You're muted, ma. Prof.
Sorry, Prof is muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Thank you, ma.
You can hear me. Thank you.
Yes, ma. Yeah.
So we want to look at bridging the gap between agricultural industry and research innovation. So first, we look at the agricultural industry in this dispensation. We all know agricultural industry is the major food bank of the world, even in our country, Nigeria, and they provide food, fibers, fuel for the nation as a whole, but they are actually hindered by quite a number of challenges. The very first challenge among the challenges is the climate change. And again, the agricultural industry has limited resources. And there is also a challenge of the food insecurity. But if you look at the trend of the research and innovation in this dispensation now, they are actually providing solutions to ensure sustainability of the agricultural industry. And looking at the roles and innovation in building up agricultural industry, the 20th century research now and innovation has actually improved the crop yield. It has reduced environmental impact, and also there is development of new technologies and practices that can benefit farmers and consumers. From all the reports from researchers. So collaborations between agricultural industry and academia, we actually reported a lot of development in the area of drought-resistant varieties that farmers and the agric industry can plant to secure food security in the future ahead. And we also have the invention of insect-resistant crop varieties, and the IPM, Integrated Pest Management, too, has actually helped the agricultural industry. Here, we have integrated pest management. What does it deal with? It's a situation where we can combine 2, 3, or more activities to secure the crop yield, both on the farm, while the crops are still growing in the farm, and also in the storage warehouse. There are cultural ethics that we can embark on. We can employ the cultural practices. We can bring in the biological practices. We can bring in the chemical innovation too, to preserve the crops both on the field and in the store. And thirdly, we also consider the collaboration between this agric industry and the academia. We have talked about the drought-resistant crops that are also invented by the International Rice Research Institute, the IRRI, and the International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center, the IITA too. This is the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan. We have quite a number of varieties, crop-resistant varieties that has been of valuable use for the agric industries. Even in the research among the students doing their project work and the postgraduate student, undergraduate student, we refer them to IITA to go and buy some resistant varieties. So while we compare them with the non-resistant varieties to look at, okay, during the course of planting and harvesting, which of these either varieties can resist the environmental challenges we are talking about. So we are able to give those reports to the agric industries. Even checking through our results online, we have educated the agric industries they have upgraded their plan and purpose of the actually impacting agriculture in the country. And from the collaboration, there are quite a number of pest-resistant crops that are also obtained from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, even from University of California. My students have been collaborating with some researchers, with the invention of some researchers in US up till now, both undergraduate and postgraduate students. What do? They extract some active ingredients from the so-called botanicals. Instead of we to go into the farm, obtain these botanicals that we can use to protect our crops in the feed and in the store. But these experts in foreign countries, in developed countries, have extracted the active components within each of these botanicals. And though we easily get this from them, we order from them, so we just embark on this research to do a variety of research with it. We compare the activities, and we are able to get results that are given back, and we are able to give back to the farmers and the agric industries. And the inventions also demonstrate how the agricultural industry and the academia can work together to create a lasting solution to complex problems that are causing loss in agriculture. And we are actually doing that. So while we are progressing on each of this research and giving back to the agricultural industry, we have some barriers to successful collaboration. We just have to look at that. There are barriers to successful collaborations between the agricultural industry, and the research institutions. One, we all know that limited fund. A single researcher cannot even go beyond what your pocket can sustain. So we have, and the moment you don't get grants from the government, you write a lot of proposals, the proposals are not accepted, then there will be problem. So it's only where your financial capacity could go that you will stop work. And at the same time, limited fund is a major barrier for research and development. The communication gap too of the information that we have achieved from the outcome of the research. There is a communication gap, disseminating them to the agricultural industry. And we also have some other cultural differences may be there. Like there are some of our research publications now, when you send it to foreign countries, developed countries, they will send it back. They felt more superior than the academias in the Black countries. They will send it back. If you are not the type that is so patient, you want to give up at that point because you felt you have spent a lot of money, You have put a lot of money into the research work, and you can even value what you are putting, sending it abroad to a foreign and international standard journal for publication. They will send it back. The next 2-3 years, we are still on a single publication. They will tell us to go further, do this, do that. We want to see this. And usually, a researcher shouldn't give up. But because we are limited fund, some may give up, some will continue. But once you know the value of the journal you are sending the paper to, that even abroad, you may be invited by any of these developed countries to come and further give a lecture on that, or to come and for a support or a further collaboration, which is very important. And all these barriers can make it difficult for agricultural industry and the research institutions to work together effectively. But looking at it, how do we overcome it? There are barriers. The major barrier is funding. How do we overcome the barriers? Above, the government should increase funding for agricultural research and development. And it's now left for us. How do we convince them? We write a lot of proposals to Ministry of Agriculture in Abuja. They will set up a committee looking into it, but there are so many political influence that may drop down the valuable proposal and then they will give it to their own family. But that is aside. And bridging the gap of the communication gap of sharing the information between the agricultural industry and academia, we can do that. We can still do that, but it includes funding. You need to organize events, conferences, seminars, workshops, do a lot of publications. And when you publish in developed country journals, you spend a lot of money. Even in this, our Federal University of Technology, there was a professor that published a paper for $1,000. We asked him, how much are you earning? But that singular journal can make up for about 5 other local journals. But that journal will fetch him, the journal that cost $1,000 to publish a paper in will fetch him a lot, can take him to any developed country for further collaboration. But where do we get the money? So that is the government needs to help us, and disseminating information. We can do that, as I said, through organizing seminars for agricultural industries, organizing workshops for low-income farmers. We did one here in 2019 in my department. We had to call upon those that are into honey production. So we had to educate them, the local farmers. We did a lot of awareness adverts. Took it to SRC, radio station to put up the advert for us. We welcome more than over 100 farmers that are into honey production. So we educated them. We educate them on the diseases that can affect their yield at the end of the day, that can impair the yield. So they learned a lot. We didn't collect money from them. They traveled from Ekiti, from parts of Ondo State, and it was a 2-day workshop, free. Some individuals in Futa, we went to them, the principal officers in our university, they gave us some money. So we were able to, we brought in a lot of personnel to come and talk to them in different areas of producing honey. The challenges, how do you cope with the challenges? So we need to disseminate information. We need to increase or improve on our seminars, workshop, publication, creating awareness. And also is the creation of a public-private partnership. This can bring together the expertise in the agricultural industry and the research institution. And also, the cultural awareness is very important too. And as stated above, we need to do a lot of collaborative work. We work along with them. When we work along with the agric industries, they'll be able to tell us their challenges. We, the research institution, will bring these challenges as a proposal we are going to work on. It involves money. So conclusively, collaboration between the agricultural industry and the research institutions can call for greater investment in research and innovation. And this should be given a top priority even by the government. We will work together for food security. There may be unforeseen mishap in the future. There may be famine. The moment we don't work together with this agric industry and the researchers, we work together to sustain for sustainability. Anything could happen. What can happen that people cannot come out of their abode to go to work or to go to farm? How do we feed them? There can be flood. Natural disaster can happen. It happens in developed countries where there was flood, but because America has food reserve for the next 15 to 20 years, they were able to supply all the individuals that are hooked up in their buildings during the flood mishap. They are able to supply them through the windows, some quantity of food to sustain them. And if there is need for medical too, they come in. They take them through the helicopter. So food security is very important, and this can be achieved. We can sustain this by the agric industry and the research collaboration. So this, we need the help of the government and individuals to help in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that impactful section. I don't know if anyone has a question. Please drop it on the chat box, or you can signify. Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? Okay. I can see a question here, Ma. Is it possible to monetize research papers to fund more research innovations?
That means you are monetizing your idea, right? The person wants to monetize the idea. You will not achieve your desired goal if you have to do that. The only thing you can do is if you have individuals, companies, the organizations like NGO in agriculture, whichever, that are ready to sponsor, it is better you work together because you are the one that has the knowledge and the initiative. If you sell it out, they may not achieve the desired aim. So it's better you come together. That's still what you are talking about, collaborative effort. Is that okay?
Mr. Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. So now,
thank you for listening.
Now we are going to be moving to the second speaker. Okay, there's another question here. So sorry, Ma. It says, how can we encourage private industries to fund us?
Yes, it's possible to encourage a private industry. That is when you put in all your efforts we made mention of a communication gap. We can sell our information to them. We can share the information to them, share your proposal to them, with them, and they can do that. About 3 or 4 years ago, there are two individuals, one from Canada, one from US. They are East, the Igbo people. They came in contact with one of our colleagues. It's one of my colleagues, a junior colleague. They saw a paper, a publication of this on botanicals, because in the recent time now, in the 20th century, we've been working on plants to preserve the crops on the field, plant extracts and plant powders to protect the crop on the field and that in the store against infestation. So they saw this. Why are we doing that now? Because of the awareness of the health hazards of synthetic chemicals. It's really causing a lot of hazards now. So this individual, they saw the publication online, contacted one of us, and when that person got the contact, they are not Akure people, but eventually the two of them team up together. So the contact person the contact researcher that they came in contact with, the man is in UK now, Dr. Ogunbite. So he also finished from FUTA. So he had to come to us because we've been working together. I and Ogunbite, we had more than 21 publications together on plant extracts against agricultural pests, both in store and in field. So he came to FUTA to meet us, met some individuals too, some professors in food science, Professor Luwalana, and 3 others. So we came together. We had a collaborative meeting with these 2 experts. The 2 of them are biochemistry-oriented individuals, but they want to start up a processing company, which they eventually started in Okejebu. So what do we do? What did we suggest to them? We gave them a list of lots of plant materials that we can process into herbal tea, food supplement. We encapsulated it. They brought in a lot of equipment into that industry then. So we were just like, what do we call us? They gave us a name, the team of the researchers that are here. So we are the one that gives idea on the plant materials. Ugu plant was there. We had to look for suppliers of this plant. There are 2 professors in engineering, Professor Babatola and one others, that went as far as Ogbese to go and plant Ugu there. There's another professor that supplies us the bitter leaf. They will harvest in large quantity. So this man, who is a contact person, we shared the idea. So they had a drying machine. What do? To just dry the plant material. There are ways by which there are engines that remove all the, all the dirt and the microorganisms, they subject them to different segments of the machine. So until it dry it and then grind into powder, and then we encapsulate. Bitter leaf is bitter. If you put it in powder, people cannot take it. So we encapsulate. So you just take a capsule. So what are these people doing? They paid us. For the first 2 years. They paid us some money. But we were not satisfied with what they are giving us, because we were even the ones that brought in marketers. So marketers that came in were bringing the products to FUTA. There are tea we had the tea in tea bags. So our contact person was the main manager in the company. The machine is so easy to operate. Once you just read the instruction, it was operating. And he was paying those people in the factory fully. And we that are the research collaborators, but we were not satisfied with the peanuts he's giving us. So we were only waiting for 2 years. We had to drop out. The man in food science first drop out. And even those people supplying, they are not 50 naira per kg of harvested plant materials they brought in. It's so small. Talk less of transporting it from the farm to the factory venue. So we had to drop out. We didn't sell our product. We didn't sell our initiative to him. So I heard now that what he's now doing, he has tapped all the knowledge from us. Even the man who is the operator and the contact person left. He's now in UK. He left the company. Nobody knew what is going on in the company now. But what he was doing, he was harvesting, he was exporting all these products to China. So when it gets to China, they will do the repackaging and send back to other countries, labeled China. And yet we did all the background work here. Are we getting it now?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you said he got us unaware, but no problem. Assuming we had our own money, it's a thing an individual can start on their own. We have different tea in tea bags. Most professors who are elderly professors in FUTA, they always order from me. Then Professor Fuya and Co. But eventually we were just not happy with the remuneration. We just have to drop off the work. Because we go there for meetings every 2 weeks. Not even sitting allowance for meeting. So you see all the challenges, bad remuneration. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma. Mr.
It's
Moses,
a
I
pleasure.
believe your question has been answered.
Okay.
Thank you, ma.
Okay. Thank you.
So now, quickly, we'll move to the second speaker, Mr. Nii. I'm so sorry. I would love to recognize the presence of Mr. Nii. He was on the call right from the beginning, but I didn't see that. So now I'm going to be for a fixed tour. So Mr. Nii, affectionately known as a foremost agribusiness expert, embarked on his journey in commercial agribusiness in 2009 with over a decade of experience in the Nigeria banking sector and 2 decades of hands-on agribusiness fieldwork. He brings a wealth of expertise to the table. His remarkable achievements include raising over 8 million USD for various agribusiness projects, managing over 10,000 acres of crop farms and livestock projects valued at well over 2 million USD. Notably, his entrepreneurial spirit led to the establishment of an agribusiness enterprise valued at 2.9 million USD within the first 2 years. Nii is deeply committed to sustainable agriculture and profitably, believing that these are essentials to meet the world's evolving food needs. As a member of the Institute of Professional Managers and Administrators and a fellow of the Mastermind Business Fellowship, United Kingdom, he is recognized for his outstanding contribution to entrepreneurship and leadership. Recipient of numerous awards for excellence, Niyi Ogungbade advocates for mass participation in agriculture and promotes innovation solutions to food production challenges. Join me welcome Mr. Niyi Ogungbade. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the organizers of this program for allowing me to share some few thoughts about agriculture, about farming and science. I want to say the first session has been very impactful. I appreciate you, Prof. Thank you for that session. I learned quite a lot.
Thank you so much.
I already told the organizer that I would love to talk to you much more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. So I'm
Thank
saddled with the responsibility to talk about how science makes farming better and more efficient. I like this topic because I am in the eye of the storm when it comes to primary production. I am basically I do basically 80% of primary production. Like the lady rightly said, I have cultivated over 10,000 hectares of farmland. And because of that, I think I'm in a good position to tell you that science is in the crux of food production. Okay, if we are going to go by way of definition, farming, I would like to say agriculture, entails tilling the ground with the mind of producing food, producing raw materials for industries. When we produce food, sometimes we humans and industries and companies, we fight for these our produce. For instance, maize. We humans, we want to buy maize, we want to cook it and eat. You know, our cars too want to use ethanol, or we'll talk about cassava. So there is when the farmer is producing, it's producing for humans and for machines too. You know, so talking about farming now or agriculture, it entails cropping, it entails livestock production. When we produce livestock, we produce for food, for raw materials, hide and skin. We produce for sports too sometimes. We produce for sports and for games and any other endeavor that we may want to achieve. All right. So then again, science Science, by my definition, is an attempt, is an inquiry into gifts of nature. Science, by my definition again, is human attempt to find out what is happening. How can I make it better? What are the pitfalls? How can I avoid pitfalls? You know, in this context now. So, talking about science in agriculture, I want to say that except agriculture and science, or farming and science are merged together, we can just say that we're just taking a stroll in the park when it comes to food production or raw material production. You see, the inception of agriculture, if we look back like 6,000 years ago, agriculture or farming started by accident that was necessitated by compulsion. Let me say that, because man was getting hungry, was looking around, trying to see how he can survive. And by means of, by accident, we found out that, oh, after eating this particular fruit, if this seed drops on the ground, it grows. So food production started like that. And we started producing food, and man started producing food by accident. Now, I want to say certain regions of the world are still sitting and still hoping that by accident, we will be able to produce enough food by just moving around, gathering and behaving like cavemen. We may still be able to meet our demands. However, certain regions in this world have discovered that except we infuse science into food production, the world is going to die of hunger. Look at it. 1960, around 1955, 1960, the population of Nigeria was about 48 million. Right now, the population of Nigeria is, we are assuming now, because we don't have reliable data, that we're about 225 million. That tells us that the mouths that we want to feed are growing. But the question now is that, is food production growing? I'll give you in fact, I don't have to give you the answer. You should know yourself now that in Nigeria we have food crisis because food production is not growing at the rate it should grow to meet the population explosion. Okay, so how do we come out of it? We are going to come out of this quagmire by employing science. Going back to our topic that says, how do we match science and agriculture together? And again, I say science and farming and agriculture, they are inseparable twins. They are siames. You cannot separate them because it is by our inquiry into what nature has given to us that we will be able to solve our problem. All right. So I want to talk briefly about what science has given to us in terms of farming, in terms of food production, raw material production. If you look at poultry industry, for instance, the reason why we have broilers, the reason why we have layers. Have you heard about noiler? The reason why we have noiler and various variety or breeds of chicken is because of science. It's because of the effort of science. In science, science was able to give us inquiry into DNA, into RNA. Recently, year 2020, when we had the issue of COVID, we found out how useful messenger RNA is when it comes to our health. Before then, around 2007, I was studying RNA interference. I was studying short interference RNA, short hair RNA and all. But it looks so theoretical and academic until there was need for us to look for solution for COVID. We discovered that science is the fulcrum of our lives. And there is no exception to that when you talk about when you talk about agriculture too. I set an example. Again, when you look at, just to buttress what Prof said, when you look at the advancement that we have made, talking about crop production, food production, there was no way. Okay, I mentioned that, did I? Okay, I'm going to say 2020, my company cultivated 1,700 hectares of rice in Ogun State, around Yewa North. Imagine 1,700 hectares. If there was no infusion of science and technology, there was no way we would do that. There was no way we would do that. How do we control weed? Right now, we have systemic herbicides, we have contact herbicide, we have glyphosate, we have different kind of weed control mechanisms. All thanks to science, we're able to achieve that. Because if you bring in humans, if you get humans to engage in weed control, how many people will you bring on board to control 1,700 hectares of rice? How many people? And again, when we planted that rice, we planted by broadcasting. So there is no row, there is no heap. So for you to even, there's something we call rogging inside rice farm. You go inside it, you use your hand to handpick the weeds. And while you are trying to ensure that you do not harm the rice plant, you know, that's very Herculean, that's very tasking, drudgery. But by the time you apply systemic herbicide, you just apply it using drones overhead, apply it, and you go back. Systemic selective herbicide. The selective herbicide will take care of the weeds and it will leave rice. And rice will grow. And what 5,000 human beings should have done, two drones and systemic selective herbicide will take care of it within a week. You can see the help that science has brought into farming and into food production. I want to cite an example. One of my, I schooled in Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. When we were there, it was called University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. I studied animal breeding and genetics. So I may tend a little towards genetics. And eventually I veered off from there to study my second degree in business. But some of my guys in Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, they did a lot of fantastic jobs. Right now, that school, University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, has a chicken that is dual purpose. It can give you the meat size, the quality of the meat that you want, and it will also give you a good clutch size when it comes to raising it like a pullet. These are the things that science has done for us. And I just talk about what science did for us. I mean, I'm talking about hindsight now. Currently, I want to say, as much as we have enjoyed science, I believe that we have not really delved into the possibility that science can give us when it comes to farming. You see, I'm a Christian, and when the Bible talks about a land flowing with milk and honey, I do not think that it is talking about a land that you go, you live in, and you are lazy, and you just draw honey and milk, and you just see gold on the road, or I mean, you just reap benefit where you have not worked. I believe land that is flowing with milk and honey is a land that is filled with people who are using their brain, and as a result, they are engaging sciences, and as a result, they are making profit, they are building their future, they are securing their future. As far as agriculture is concerned, here too, for our land to be flowing with milk and honey, we need to adopt the possibility of science. We need to take our decisions based on reasoning, based on evidence. We are not expected to, you see, in my journey, I've been able to interact with over 25,000 local farmers. And I found out that in a country like Nigeria, when we claim that, oh, if you throw a seed on the floor or in the soil anywhere, it will grow and you will harvest, and all sorts of lazy talks. This kind of mentality is still in the mind of a lot of people, that, oh, we are so blessed. We are as blessed as the volume or the extent to which we use our brain, the extent to which we use sciences. If you go to countries like China, they have so much embraced sciences that a grade 2, equivalent of grade 2 student there understand or is indoctrinated into STEM courses. But here, I hope things will change, because right now, where we are right now, if we do not embrace and use technology and science, this country may likely go hungry. Because tell me, how will you survive if Thailand, I'm trying to talk about cassava now. Thailand's yield per hectare for cassava is about 40 tons per hectare average, and I are improving on that. But Nigeria, our average in Nigeria is 12 tons, and that 12 tons is an improvement in the last 2 years. Now, how do we compete with them? Except we use science and technology, right? Right now, a lot of things are happening in my own field. I mean, agri-tech industry. We employ a lot of technology and science. 2020, I engaged the academic world. We're able to build a particular dryer, mainly for sesame plants and seed. Then again, in my company, we engage in research and development. And like Prof said, I believe private companies like ours should do more, to fund research, to fund sciences. So in my industry, we have been able to crack how to fund, how to rate fund. I've been able to crack how to monitor farmers. I developed a particular application where we help farmers to gather data. We help them to scale. We help them to see that agriculture is a business, and we help them to capture their data, process it, help them to build transaction history, so that at the end of the year they may be able to approach, bank or any finance houses for funding. So all these are effects or byproduct of science and technology. And currently, the world is talking about fourth industrial revolution. When you talk about robotics, you talk about Internet of Things, you talk about big data, and you talk about artificial intelligence. All these things are needed for us to, in farming and agriculture, for us to push us to that pedestal where we're supposed to be. By year 2050, Nigeria in particular, by year 2050, will be the 5th largest nation by population. 5th or 3rd? 5th now, largest nation by population. These people will eat something. These people will wear clothes. These humans will use chemicals. They will use insecticide. And at the same time, we must ensure that our environment is adequately sustained. So because of that, we must merge science into agriculture. Remember I said that science is an inquiry. We must use our intellect. We must look at it. If cassava is growing here and we are having 12 tons per hectare, why is it like that? What can be done? How can we improve it? And let me quickly say that to lean on what Prof said earlier, there has to be proper handshake between people in the field and people in the research institute, both our research institutes and our academic institutions. We must find a way to exchange ideas. Professor Ojo, in 2020, we cultivated about 500 hectares of soybean. There is Professor Ojo in RIT. He has an office in UNAP too, and he was able to guide us properly when we were looking at using certain inputs. You know, he was able to guide us properly, and it helped us. And from our own side, we were able to give him certain feedbacks that would further help him to tweak, you know, the solutions that he gave us. You see, when we have researches and we keep them, people, the academic world will clap for us, but those researches will not translate into better life for individuals, for people, for the real. As a result of that, again, I believe a proper handshake between the field and the classroom to transmit the science and technology developed inside the four walls of the academia into the field, and it will translate into visible growth in our production. I believe the or industries like ours are already looking at that. A friend of mine in the industry is actively sponsoring researches in crops production, especially in grains. And I believe the more we do that, we will achieve our desired results. Then again, I believe companies like ours should engage the brains, not only collecting research documents from them, but actively engage the academia in our field works. At the time, I extended hand of fellowship to some of my friends that are in academia, telling them that okay, they can come around and take samples. They can come and take data measurements. You know, I have a friend who works with the Biotech Institute. I've forgotten the name of that institute. His bias is bovine, which is cattle. At that time, I had over 200 cows in my ranch, and it was easy for him to come around, take samples, you know, instead of him spending so much in developing his own ranch, you know. And the handshake, I believe, you know, gave us very good results. Right. So rounding off, I want to reiterate again. There is nothing we can achieve. The clothes we are putting on is as a result of intelligent design, intelligent thinking. The food that we eat right now. So the future we are looking at will be birth, interaction of we humans and the product that science is going to give to us. And we cannot look away from employing science in farming. That is our future. That is our life. If we don't do that, well, I believe other countries are doing that already. I just hope that we don't eventually become net importer of food products. Again, there is hope. I believe young people are rising up and they are doing the needful. And I hope we just do more and we take this food industry or agri industry generally to the height that it's supposed to be. All right, thank you very much. I want to apologize. My assistant was not able to push the slides in. I'm going to share the slide with coordinator. All right. I hope I was able to speak from my heart, and I hope I was able to hit the nail on the head. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'll take some questions if there is time for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Ms. Ali. That was a wonderful session. So now,
thank you so much.
Before we introduce the last speaker, and I just wanted to I just wanted to drop your name and where you are joining from. And if you have any question, just drop it in the chat box. So after the session, I'm going to Mr. Lee is going to answer them. So if you have any question, just drop it in the chat box. And if you are just joining us, please your name and where you are joining from. Thank you. So while we are doing that, I will introduce our last speaker. So before Miss Angela starts speaking to us, I'm going to introduce her very quickly. So Angela is a MasterCard Foundation Scholar at the University of Cambridge, where she pursued a Master of Philosophy in Biological Sciences with a focus on crop science. Her passion for food security and sustainable development led her to become a staunch advocate for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 2, Zero Hunger, and Goal 13, Climate Action. As a youth advocate for independent business network development and a participant in the National Youth Service Corps, Angela actively works towards fostering entrepreneurship among young people. She is currently engaged in full-time research at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, where she applies her expertise to address critical challenges in agriculture and food production. With an undergraduate degree in crop production from Tafawa Balewa University, Angela brings a strong academic background and a deep commitment to making a positive impact in our community and beyond. So now I'm going to be welcoming Ms. Angela. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. Sorry, can you hear me? Thank you very much.
Yes, Ma.
That was a very mixed up introduction. But yeah, thank you for having me. And I really want to thank Professor Oni and Mr. Lee for such wonderful opening. It was very, very insightful listening to both of you, and I learned a lot myself, and it's an honor to be speaking today and have you as listeners. I'll just first off just go ahead with our topic or why we're here, and yeah, I've already been introduced, but yeah, I'm Angela Sunen, and currently I'm a master's student at the University of Cambridge, where I'm studying biological sciences. So my focus is on crop science. So, so first off, I want to start with just like a build up, because Professor Odi has already said so much as it concerns research, and since that is what I mostly do, I'm just going to like build on like what she said. And I had myself taking some notes when she was speaking, because I mean, I could not agree less with so much that she said, particularly concerning like the challenges of agricultural research generally, and the challenges that particularly like African or Nigerian researchers have to face as it regards collaborating with industry. So the first thing that I would love to talk about or to mention is, just like our thematic area for this webinar says, that how to bridge the gap between agricultural innovations and agricultural industry. First and foremost, like the agricultural industry, to me, is not just people like big time entrepreneurs or who are, have like large farms or cultivate so much. The local farmer, for me, the smallholder farmer, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, but for some reason, I'm very passionate about smallholder farmers, and translates to them, because I always refer to them as like the heart of food security, because that is where food production starts before it goes out to the big industry players. So for the first thing I would like to say that needs to be addressed, if we have to address, if we have to bridge this gap, are like the systematic challenges. The first thing is there is so much like for Nigeria, where most of us are from. I know that not everyone on here is from Nigeria, but like in Nigeria, there is such a poor, we have such a poor policy system as regards agriculture. So this kind of things, make it very, very difficult for like good research or real research to translate from, the greenhouses or the laboratories to the field. And that is such a big area. And I remember when Professor Oni was speaking, and she said things like, when you as a researcher in Nigeria or in Africa, when you try to publish your work in international journals, you get turned down and all of that. And I remember somebody asking if this can be monetized, or what can be done. And as people gathered here, I believe that like more than 60% of the audience that we have here in this meeting, like we are young people, and most of us are maybe students, or most of us are, students of agriculture, let me put it that way. It could be crop science, it could be animal science. But we really, really first, to be able to promote this passion that we have for agriculture, and to promote this passion that we have for agricultural research or agricultural sciences, we really have to like build ambition. We have to like develop our ambition, and because there is so much that is happening in the world generally right now. There is so much happening. There's so much, research that is going on. There is so much that is happening. So if we are not able, as young people, to build ambition, to match up like what is really, really needed as far as food production is concerned, we'll sell ourselves short, and, we may not be able to, to kind of bring solutions that that really, really address the problem. So as young people, we really, really, really need to up our ambitions as far as like agricultural research is concerned. And like Mr. Niyi said, agricultural, like science is the crux, like literally the crux of food security right now. Like we cannot, like Mr. Niyi mentioned earlier, that if you look at the history of agriculture and how man came to begin to grow crops, it sounds as though like it was just like an accident. That's just gathering, growing, and just like that. But probably at the time, you could head count the number of human beings that we had. But now, I mean, the world population is growing every day, and we cannot rely on such conventional ways to be able to produce food anymore. And as a matter of fact, more than 60% of, I mean, that is me shooting at the moon, but I dare to say that more than 60% of the food production that is happening in the world now is, as a result of the ideas that people like Professor Oni and many other notable researchers have been able to push out there. I mean, we may not even know, because if we are able to have For example, even though this is currently becoming a problem, if we are able to have fertilizers or herbicides, I mean, this is the intervention of science. And before the Green Revolution in the 1950s, food production was going so low that the entire world was, sinking into famine. And that was when Norman Borlaug people brought about nitrogen fertilizers that has boosted the yield of food so much. I mean, there's literally everyone who grows food now grows food with, fertilizers, and that like upscales yield. So that all of these things are a product of research, right? That has happened over the years. So all of these things is happening, but how to bridge this gap, how to really, really take these innovations, not so much is happening, unfortunately, especially for us in Africa or in Nigeria, because there is so much, the gap is so wide. There is no collaboration, or very little or very less collaboration between the Nigerian government and, these researchers as it regards like funding, because like Professor Oni said, you really cannot fund science from your pocket. It's too expensive, because you're carrying out a research and maybe just a little reagent is so expensive. It's in hundreds of dollars. So it's so expensive. Like, as an individual researcher cannot fund science without the support of either government or private industry. So it's really, really expensive to do this research. And if we really, really have to get these things done, I mean, it's almost beginning to sound like cliche, where we say things like government needs to fund research. Government. That is why I believe so much in the power of advocacy. And as young people who are in this field, and I mean, it is on us to take over for people who are interested in research and in the academia, to take up from people like Professor Oni and like the rest of the researchers. It is on us now to begin to like raise our voices. I believe so much in the power of advocacy. We may not know the extent to which we repeatedly calling these people to action and telling them this is what you need to do, this is the things that you need to do, because I mean, like Greta would say, it is our future we are talking about, because I mean, we are the young people, we are the people who who are going to be around for a long time. So it falls on us, it's like our responsibility now as upcoming researchers, or as early career starters, to begin to take this thing seriously. First off, you need to, like, because you are the one who is going to do the work, you need to upscale your ambition and be doing things that are going to reasonably contribute to solving this problem, and then begin to talk about calling the people who we know that should be responsible for providing things like funding and making policies that help this research to be able to like materialize. Like Mr. Neye said, it is almost useless to do good research, or to be able to do research, that is if you can even afford to do it, and just stock it up on the shelves. It may not, it doesn't really achieve the main goal of agricultural research, because the aim of doing this research is to be able to translate it to help people, to help the farmers, and to produce food generally for us, because even you as a researcher, you need to eat. So it is our call now, as young and upcoming researchers, to be able to start to take this thing seriously. Keep talking about it. Sometimes it may feel like, it may seem as though like nobody's listening, but we need to call these people to action. They need to do what they need to do, because if researchers do not get money, they are not going to be able to do good research. And these are like the building blocks of these things. Because if the international community, for example, would not recognize you and your research because maybe you're doing it in Nigeria, it is because maybe you are doing it at the level that you could afford to do it. Because good research is very, very expensive. It's very expensive. Before I came to Cambridge, I worked, for a brief period with IIT in Ibadan before I left. And as an international institute that has lots of international funders like the Medina Bill Foundation and among other funders, they're able to do good research, but it's it comes at how much money they're able to get from funders to do this research. So there is really no way that we can successfully bridge this gap that exists between innovations and the industry. if there is no funding. If there is no funding for this research, it's absolutely almost impossible, because it is. So that is why, because if we are not in government as young people, then we have to call government to order. That is why I always say that if, as a young person who is, an aspiring researcher or an early career starter, early career researcher, you almost cannot do one at a time. Because if you are putting your head so much down, trying to, know the work, to do the job, to understand the science and produce results, because at the end of the day, working to secure food is very local. However it is, like wherever I am, I'm in Cambridge now, my passion lies with Nigeria, my passion lies with Africa. And I really want to be able to translate all the work that I'll be able to do back home. But what do you do when you take all of this knowledge home and then you meet all of these bottlenecks of funding, of policy, and many of these other things? That is why, as young people, we really cannot do one or the other. We have to be involved. We have to be involved. Up our ambition. It's like I've said that like 10 times, but it's how much it's important to me as young people, or as youth who are in this space of agriculture, to begin to think about real and good solutions that will be able to bring us things like the things that we are enjoying. I mean, if Internet of Things, if robotics, if plant pathology are able to bring us things like pesticides, if plant breeding and genetics is able to bring us things like improved seed varieties, if we really need to, match these things, because as far as science is concerned, like most of us here may already know, I mean, your innovation is only truly considered an innovation if it supersedes what exists. And it is very clear that what exists right now cannot serve us in the near future. So our ambitions as young people who are in this space is to begin to aim to do the things that, supersedes what exists. So we need to do good work as young people. We need to upscale our ambitions, and we really need to raise our voices. We need to keep talking about how much it's important for us to have the things that we need to be in place to be able to implement everything that we are learning in schools, in the fields, and in all of this, in all of these spaces. It's very, very important. So yeah, so like Professor Oni said, there could be trainings to bridge this gap and to be able to communicate like the research that has been done, from the researchers or from the people who are in the science to the industry, which in this by my definition translates to both the big industry players and the smallholder farmers. All of these things, we cannot do it from our pockets. It may sound like a broken record to continue talking about funding, but it is very, very important. And we, as young people, need to do what we need to do to call the people that are responsible for these things in order. While we do our part, we cannot always just sit and call on government, right? So as young people, if you are saying that government needs to fund research and you are in the field, what are your ideas? What are you proposing? And the only way that we can really propose solid ideas that actually solve the problems is to really, really be in sync with the industry players, the farmers themselves. Like Nii was saying earlier about his friend who works on bovine that comes to his ranch to take data and all of that. These are the kind of interactions that we need, the handshakes that we need between researchers and industry. And it is very, very good at the level that, at whatever level that, that you are as a young researcher, to do these things, to, participate in some of these things. And, when you start doing these things at this level, at the level that you are, it becomes easier to do them, even, when you grow in industry, in the field, or when you become a big researcher. So it is very, very important for industry and the research institutes or academic or universities where doctors and professors or researchers are carrying out research as pertains to agriculture, to be in sync, because honestly, you cannot work to improve what is not a problem. It is when the farmers say, oh, we need a crop that is able to, oh, we don't have enough rains, the climate is changing, and this is our problem, that you're able to go back to the drawing board and then propose, okay, this is what we need to do to upscale the yield of the farmer. So it is really, really important to be able to bridge this gap. And these systematic challenges exist: policy, funding. And as young people, as we raise our ambitions, I really, really, really call on all of us to become true advocates, of agricultural research, and begin to call the people that we know that are or that have the responsibility to do these things, to do them. So thank you all very much. That is like everything has already been said as pertains to entrepreneurship by Mr. Niyi. But I just really wanted to give those sense as it concerns us as young people in this space of research. So thank you very much for having me, and I hope that I was able to offer some value. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for such an impactful section. So right now, very quickly, we'll be moving to the question and answer session. So if you have your question, just paste it on the chat box.
Okay.
Very quickly. If you have your question. Okay. Oh. Okay, so
yeah.
I would also like to know who the question is directed to. Mr. Moses. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Niyi, the first question is directed to you, sir. It says, what are the most feasible common ways to fundraise for research? Our research having direct industrial values? Over to you, sir, Mr. Niyi.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to look for myself. I'm not seeing my, okay. All right, I hope you are seeing me. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, good. So personally, I've not raised funds for research before, but I will tell you what I believe is a smart thing to do. Like Angela said, I believe if we identify a problem, real problem, we industries that will benefit from the solution will be eager to solve it. For instance, I have a challenge. The challenge is about rice.
Yes.
I'm looking for a smart solution to irrigate my rice farm, because I understand that because of climate change, I can't really predict what happens to my lowland, my Faro 44. When I can't really predict, I can't predict the volume of rain and the.
Yeah, it is. I drink it. I don't think that is a problem. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I'm trying to pick that. I thought someone was trying to moderate. Okay, what I was saying is that if I have a problem, if, for instance, we have a problem with lowland rice and the volume of water needed to raise the rice. Now, if you as a person, your research is about, you are researching into rice, you are a rice researcher, and you have a solution or you have a proposal that will solve my problem. We can have a good handshake. I know that if you solve this problem, apart from, I don't even need your patent. I don't need patency. What I need is economical value. I need a commercially viable solution. Something that if I fund it, say 10 million naira, by the time you bring out the solution, you do your research, say a year, 2, 3, 4, and you come out of it, that that my 10 million naira will save me from losing 1 billion naira, I'm okay. I think that is a smarter way for the research people and the commerce people like us, can find a good common ground, and it will be easier for us to part with cash. There's a solution we developed. I mentioned earlier a dryer for sesame. The person that did is a professor from University of Ibadan, and he has interest in that line, and we approached him and we funded him, and he designed it within 1 year. The design is out, and we even export. Right now, we are giving the solution to. I saw someone from Gambia here. We are giving the solution to Gambia. So that is, I think, the smartest way. Identify a problem in your field, and people that are suffering from it will pay for it, especially the big industry players. All right. I hope I answered that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So the next question is directed to Ms. Angela. It says, what is the most effective ways to up our research values? And the third question is, from what you've seen, is the game-changing plan for African researchers to have affiliation with international study centers? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So the first question, what's the most effective ways to up our research values? Learning, anyway, for me, let me just share a little bit of my personal story. For me, when I started to feel that this was what I wanted to do, and to up my what's the word? My research value. The first thing I did was I began to seek, where the knowledge that I wanted was the first thing. So it was a young girl. I did my undergrad, like earlier mentioned, in Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi State. And I mean, the North and the West are it's literally like going across the world. But because I knew that I wanted to be in a field like this, and I wanted to, step up my research value, I found a way, to come all the way from the North. That was my very first step, to come all the way from the North, as far as it was, down to Ibadan. First off, that was like my first starting point, to do my IT with IT. And some of us, I kind of think that most of us here are from in the West or wherever you are. I mean, wherever you are, it could be your starting point. So the best way to basically what I'm saying is, the best way to up your research value is to find where what you're looking for is available, it's obtainable, and try to, take yourself there. It doesn't have to be the best, but if that is what is available, and that is available to you, at that time, then, you go for it. It's because you cannot really, all of the ambition that you would have, in fact, there can really be no ambition without action anyway. But all of the, what's the word now? The dreams that you have, without taking good action, it's just going to be remain dreams. It's just going to remain thoughts until you really take action on them. So the first thing for me the first thing I did, to up my research value, was to look for where what I wanted was obtainable within Nigeria, and go there. And that was my first encounter going to IT for my IT, and then I returned there for my service, and I worked a little bit before I got the funding for my master's here at Cambridge, and then I moved to Cambridge. So yeah, that's the first thing you need to do. If you need to up your research value as a young person, find where what you want is, and go for it. And the second question is, from what you have seen, is the game-changing plan for African researchers to have affiliation with international study centers? I would dare say that there is actually currently not as much as we would want, but they exist. indeed very good, some, very few though, but at least they exist, good collaborations between African researchers and, international study centers. There is especially in agricultural sciences, like in agricultural research, there is some collaboration. I mean, there is room to do more, but yes. And indeed, this work is, it's yielding results. If you go to Kenya, for example, there is an entire, there's a lot of work that the CG generally, that's the CGIER, is doing in Africa generally. So there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of research centers. In Kenya, for example, they have so much, agricultural research that is going on there at the IRI Center. The IRI Center houses IIT, CIP, that's the Center for Potato Institute, and then there is iCraft. There is a lot of collaborations that is happening, and not as much as would want it, not as much as the problem that we have, the problem of the food crisis, or how best, the best ways to produce food, but at least there is something. And that is why I always say that as young people, you really need to, because you need to find yourself, you need to find a way to find yourself in places like this. That is like the best, that's like the best call of, because as a researcher, as an agricultural researcher, you really cannot work alone, especially if you're up and coming. You really cannot work alone. You need these collaborations, you need these affiliations, you need some of this sort of support. So yeah, there are some of these things that not as much as we would want it, especially but they do exist. And if you're a young person who wants to be in this space, you should really, really work towards looking for places like that. And after how small, and then you grow from there. And hopefully with time, you would be in the position to proffer true solutions, that address our food needs. I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Yes, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Mr. Moses, I hope she has been able to answer your question. So thank you so much. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed this webinar. Thank you so much, Professor Yinka. Thank you so much, Mr. Niyi Ogungbade. Thank you so much, Ms. Angela. So we'll be bringing the webinar to a close right now, but before then, I'll be sharing some information with us. So we would like you to visit our website there. And we'd love you to follow SCIENCOON on all social platforms. For those that are interested in being a campus ambassador in their school, to be our executives, we'll be sending a link through your email, via your email, so you can as well check, or you as well check your chat box. A link will be sent there. And then application for membership will be out soon. So before then, we should join our we'll encourage you to join our general WhatsApp group. And also Science Festival is coming, and it is the largest gathering of scientists and innovators in Africa. We are open for partnership and collaboration. Thank you so much. From SCIENCOON, we are saying we really, really love you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for